book nerds, this is Gabby, and today we're finding out if you have taste. So this is a really exciting video I'm super excited to be making. So this is my reacting to my highest rated, or like reacting to highest rated books I've read, or I stole this concept, that's why it's so quick. So I was totally inspired by Meg's video when she reacted to like top rated books that she's read and what was top rated. So that's basically what we're gonna be doing in this video. I'm gonna go on Goodreads, see what's like, go to my read shelf, and then organize it by average rating. And we're gonna find out what people think is highest rated from all the books I've ever read. I feel like some are gonna be classics or something boring. I don't know how exciting this video is gonna be. That's the one thing about reacting to stuff. You never know how it's gonna go. We're gonna see how it goes. We're gonna have fun with it. Thank you to Meg for coming up with this awesome idea. I'm gonna link her the video down below, so if you wanna watch that, please do. Her video was so much fun. That's why I wanted to do it so badly. But we're just gonna jump into it, I guess. I think I have to zoom in. I'm gonna zoom in so I don't see all of them at once. It's a bit more exciting. Okay, so we're gonna react to top 5, I think. I think that's enough. Number 1 highest rated book that I've ever read is Clockwork Angel, which is... oh, it's like the whole 3 of them. We're not doing this. They're all by Cassandra Clare? Oh, we're skipping the boring ones. What the... so it's Clockwork Angel, The Land I Lost, Ghosts of Shadow Market novella number 5. Then we have Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows. Then we have A Court of Mist and Fury. Then we have Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, Harry Potter and the Blood Prince, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, Clockwork Princess, Queen of Shadows. I only read the most basic books. A Storm of Swords, Empire of Swords, Becoming, oh, I do agree with that one, Becoming by Michelle Obama. That is a banger. I gave it 5 stars and it's 4.5. Another Shadowhunter book. Okay, how about we just talk about the ones I find interesting? I feel like it's not interesting to say, oh my god, Harry Potter is the most rated book, the highest rated book I read, or like, oh my god, it's another Cassandra Clare book. Like, that's boring. So we're just gonna do interesting books. Number 1, according to moi, is Punching the Air by E.B. Zoboi. So this book is actually a very interesting one. So this book is a YA, I think it's told in verse, right? And it's about, no, it's not told in verse. Is it? I read this so recently, I really should know. Oh yes, so it is. Okay. So this book is a YA novel told in verse about a black boy who gets wrongfully incarcerated, and he gets put in prison for a crime he didn't do. So the average rating is 4.49, which like we see, it's very high for a book that's not like a major series or franchise or whatever, but just like by itself. That's very, very impressive. And I gave it 4 stars. I did think it was wonderful. I think for me, not the issue, but maybe the slight barrier was the prose, because I don't read poetry. Although it was the kind of poetry that's easy to read because it almost reads like a novel, and I also listened to it as an audiobook, so that it was told to me, and it was beautiful, and the writing was beautiful, and it was heartbreaking because you're really feeling for this kid who did nothing wrong at all. And it's like really about the injustice in American court system, but I'm also sure it happens everywhere else. Yeah, it was really, really, really beautiful, sad book. I don't know if I necessarily say this is the best book I've ever read, but like, it's really good, and I think it does deserve the clout. Then we have Percy Jackson, so we're gonna skip that. Okay, so the next book was So You Want to Talk About Race by Ijeoma Oluo. So this book is a non-fiction novel, and it's about, like it says, it's about race, and it's the author talking to kind of like her experience talking to white people, but also just her experience explaining this and being a scholar in talking about race and injustice in the criminal system. I thought it was a really, really, really good book. I gave it 4 stars. It was maybe not my favorite nonfiction I ever read, but it was definitely very, very educational, very well. I listened to the audiobook as well, and it was really, really, really good read, really educational, and told you a lot. So I appreciated that. I thought it was well done, and I would recommend. So yeah, I agree with that. This is really good. Ooh, okay. The third book is The House in the Cerulean Sea by Jay Klune. So this book is a adult urban fantasy, I would say, contemporary fantasy. We follow this man who works for the, how would you call it? Like this department in the government that takes care of magical children. So in this world, some children are born magical, and that doesn't just mean they have magical powers, but some of them are born like monsters, but like, I don't know, like werewolves, that kind of thing. And when they don't have anywhere to go, they are put in orphanages. And this man is responsible for going to these orphanages and making sure that the children live in good conditions and not being abused. And he gets sent to this very special orphanage because it has like all the dangerous children or whatever, with the ones with like very unique magical abilities. Listen, I love this book. It's so freaking good. It's about family, it's about belonging, it's about finding your purpose. It's a gay romance, which is really cool to see. Has amazing whimsical characters. The writing is wonderful. The story was just so heartwarming and made you so happy. It feels like a middle grade for adults, which is something everyone says about this book, but I agree, it's such a good book. Yeah, it just makes me happy, and I'm really glad to see that it's appreciated because I gave it 5 stars. So 4.48 is actually like really high. And like I said, all the other books are either like Harry Potter, Cassandra Clare, or Percy Jackson. So it's very impressive when a book can stand to that rating. And it's a very popular book as well, so it's not like it has no ratings. Kudos. And he just came up with a new book which is like about afterlife. So I think it's gonna be just as educational and heartwarming and heartbreaking at the same time. Okay, so the fourth book is Godsgrave by Jay Kristoff, which is the second book in the Nevernight Chronicles. In Nevernight Chronicles, we follow Mia, who her family gets murdered when she's very little, and all she ever cares about is revenge. So she goes to the school for special assassins to become better at killing. It's a grim, dark fantasy. It's a very unique writing style because we have footnotes, which basically come in at random times and explain the whole history of the world in like a little tiny footnote. I have really enjoyed this series, especially when I first read it. I listened to it as an audiobook, and I read the last book physically, which I didn't really like the last book. I really think it went against everything that was set up and all the character stuff. Like, I just thought it kind of came out of nowhere. But I would agree that the last book was really, really good. I did give it 5 stars, and the rating on Goodreads is 4.49, which again, very impressive. So fair, kudos. Wow, then we have Hunger Games. So yeah, the 5th book is The Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson. So it's the Mistborn book 3, and the average rating is 4.48. So in this first book, called Mistborn, we follow a world where the Dark Lord won, and basically now we're gathering a rebellion to kill him. I enjoyed the first book really, really a lot. I hated the second book. It was so slow, nothing happened. And I must say, the third book really redeemed itself. I knew Sanderson was really good at endings because the last like 100 pages of his books are always so exciting, so fast-paced, just so good and exciting. But he has issues with pacing and they drag a lot, but this last book I actually thought didn't drag at all, which I was surprised. So I would actually agree. I give it 5 stars, and I think this is very well deserved. Another Cassandra Clare, another Harry Potter. Oh my god, this is exciting. Oh, also, I know I said 5 books, but we're doing 10 because I feel like this is a waste otherwise. So the next book, actually, wait. Next book is Iron Widow by Xiran Zhao. So this book has a 4.41 average rating, which, oh my god, my baby's doing so well. So this is a reimagining of the rise to power of the first ever Chinese female emperor, and only female emperor there has ever been. So we follow Zetian as she joins the army to avenge her sister. So in this world, it's like a sci-fi futuristic world. Our world has been invaded by aliens, and we follow them we fight them in these enormous robots called Chrysalis, and to power them you need a female and a male pilot and their keys, and usually a woman dies in this exchange because the man's key is more powerful. So I love this book. I give it 5 stars. So far there's not been like a bad book in here that I've seen. This is a very new release as well, so get your hands on it because it's hot. I think it's now New York's #1 bestseller and like indie bestseller and some other bestseller lists, so like totally amazing. I did a review for it like probably a bit too early before it came out, and I was like, this is the best book ever, and I felt like people weren't agreeing because they didn't know yet, but now I feel like everyone's finally understanding the brilliance of Xiran Zhao. Another Cassandra Clare. Educated. Okay, so the next book is, this is book number what? 7. So the 7th book is Educated by Tara Westover. So this book is, I think it's a non-fiction or like almost autobiography, and it talks about this woman who grew up in a survivalist family. I think they were all also Mormons maybe. Very religious survivalist family, and how she got out of it. I enjoyed it, but I would not say it was as good as everyone else said. I definitely think it suffered maybe a little bit from being very meandering, and it took ages to get to the point, and I just kind of got bored, and I feel really bad because this is someone's real story, but what are you gonna do? I give it 3 stars and the average is 446, so fair enough, but I don't know if I agree. I don't know. Wait, this makes no sense because Xiran was 441. This Goodreads list is shite. And the 8th book is 6 of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I did exclude other series, but I feel like this one's maybe not quite the caliber of like Harry Potter. So I'm gonna talk about it. So this is a first book in the 6 of Crows series, which is continuation of the Grishaverse from Leigh Bardugo, who also wrote Shadow and Bone series. There's now a TV show. I really enjoyed this. This is about a group of outlaws who go on a heist. I really like this book. I didn't like Shadow and Bone that much, but I think 6 of Crows is a way better book, which clearly people agree with me because Shadow and Bone's nowhere on the list, and here's 6 of Crows. So the 9th book is a very good one, and I'm really excited. So this is Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. So this is a non-fiction by Trevor Noah, who you might know from, what is it, the Daily Show? He's the anchor, or whatever you call these, like the leading person for that Daily Show. And it's about him growing up in South Africa during the apartheid. So when he was born, he was half white, half black, so he was literally illegal and had to be hidden. I thought it was a wonderful book, especially the audiobook. It's read by Trevor Noah, and he's just such a good narrator and storyteller, and he's so good at accents, and you just feel like it's multiple characters all in one, and he did a wonderful job with it. I totally agree. I gave it 5 stars myself, so a 4.45 is totally earned, and I think everyone should read it. I learned so much I didn't know about apartheid. It's not something that I was taught at school, so it was absolutely wonderful to learn more, and I would highly recommend it. So I am so happy right now because this 10th and last book is just perfection itself. So this is The Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wang. So this is a self-published book, and it's inspired by like Japanese world, and we follow, I think, Misaki, and she's a mother and a wife, and she used to be a warrior, but she gave that up when she got married, and now she lives in this very small village where her whole family, husband's family, is quite revered because they're known to be like warriors and protectors of their little town. It's about her and her sons and her husband and their journey to accepting each other, accepting themselves. It's so sad, and it's so powerful, and it's so empowering, and I absolutely love this book. I made it, wait, did I read this year or last year? Either made it to my 2020 favorite books, or it's gonna make it to my favorite 2021 books. But honestly, probably the best book, I think I read it this year, probably the best book I read this year. Absolutely freaking amazing. Just a legend. I love it so much. Okay, talking about Legends, just what last one, 11th book. We're gonna talk about it, why not? Legendborn is by Tracy Deonn, and it's a 4.44 on Goodreads, and I gave it 5 stars. So this is an urban fantasy retelling of the, reimagining of the King Arthur legend. So we follow, I don't remember the main character's name, but we follow her, and she goes to this summer program at this very prestigious university and gets entangled with like an Arthurian society. I love this book. I read it really early on this year and like absolutely freaking blew my mind away. I really, really enjoyed it. I just think it was such a great urban fantasy. I loved how it talked about generational trauma and the fact, so the main character is black and it is predominantly white institution, and that was really a big part of it. I absolutely love this book, so I wanted to give it a shout out since I saw it, because I thought, why not? Totally deserves it. It's such a gem of a book. Tracy Deonn is such a great writer. Really, really, really good prose, really good storytelling. Had me by the throat, just so excited. And I cannot wait for the second book. I'm so freaking hyped for it. So check out Legendborn. It's such a good book. Wow, okay, so there was like, what, one book I didn't agree? I mean, I know we skipped through a bunch, but I thought it would be boring if I talked about like super basic books like for 20 minutes. So we skipped around to the interesting parts. You're welcome. Let me know. Like, I'm very surprised that it was so in sync. I thought maybe they wouldn't have taste, but apparently they do. I mean, the internet. Why do I think I'm special? I'm not special at all. I'm such a basic bitch. Because if you say something is good, I probably will think it's good too. Let me know if you enjoyed this video. If you did, if you could comment, like, and subscribe, I really, really appreciate it. It really helps me out. Let me know if you read any of these. What did you think? Did you agree with my rating or not really? Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next one. Bye!